If you are Taurus, this video is for you. If you're not Taurus, you're not going to relate to this video. However, if you know someone who's Taurus, you might want to send them this video. Now, depending on how Taurus you are in your birth chart, that dictates how much this video connects with you, relates to you. When I read the energy of a Taurus person who books a reading with me, because I'm not an astrologer, everything you about to hear me share and unpack is from my mystical vibes. So I'm a mystic and I'm able to read the energy and really put my foot into the energy of certain zodiac signs and then really understand how it starts fleshing out in your behavior, in how and when you use your emotions, and at what degree you use your emotions, how you regulate it, your mental, your spiritual, etc., and your physical body. And when you understand the energy of Taurus really well, you can start seeing how certain behaviors play out in Taurus people. One karma that is aligned with Taurus is the karma that comes with the feminine side. So Taurus will always have a fondness for males, the father, the masculine, even have a tomboyish energy about them if they're female, but there will always be a masculine leaning towards that right side. Now the feminine energy, a little bit different. If a Taurus child didn't grow up with a mother who was very feminine, and by feminine I mean you shouldn't be able to tell me, Nathaniel, I had a strong mother. She was independent, she cared for us, and yeah, she was just strong. She was really, really, hardworking. If that's the only thing you're telling me about your mother, then you are a victim. You're a victim of a mom who was either due to circumstance, socioeconomic circumstance, emotional circumstance, forced to represent the same masculine energy, strength, and independence that you already have in the Taurus zodiac sign. So to have a mother do that as well, and let's just say that she doesn't talk much, she doesn't open up much, she herself has gone through an emotional retractment as opposed to an expanding. That's the difference between someone talking about their emotions, opening up, crying. You see your mother cry, you see your mother communicate when things aren't okay. If you saw this between the ages of 6 and 16, then your relationship with your mom is a lot softer. Your relationship with your feminine energy is a lot more fluid. If you didn't see this and you just saw strength, independence, my mom is there for us, worked hard, blah 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 blah, all those things, I can nearly tell you now that your relationship with your mother is predictable. In the feminine energy was closed off, you're gonna be closed off to the feminine energy. To connect to your mom is to connect to your karma. If there's a trigger with your mother, then it's really just a deeper identification of the purpose of why you are there. It is not there to be triggered and irritated or to take things personal and then make a mental note of it and then hold a grudge, because that's the primitive thing to do. That's the masculine thing to do. And because there's no feminine there, your body doesn't have a reference in your mind, emotions, nothing to be feminine. If this relates to, like I said, a mom that is always strong, a mom that is equally so, if your mom is quiet and doesn't do anything, maybe there's not a strong masculine, but there's a passive in the masculine, or passive in the feminine, I should say. And it's not worked in a way where there's flow. So yes, she might be, there's feminine energy. She's not harsh. She's not independent. It's not all, one-sided, but there's an underactive feminine. keeps everything to herself, is always kind, is always giving, very empathic, that's equally as bad as being just strong and not opening up and keeping everything to yourself and not really knowing what your mom went through because you just don't say anything. If this is the reality, then I can nearly predict that you will struggle to talk to the feminine, the mother. It will be hard for you to not get touched or irritated or triggered by the mother. And it's not because necessarily the mother is doing this on purpose, because I want you to remember the karma is there before you were born. Meaning, as an infant at 2 months, I could have already whispered into your ear, Goo Gaga, you and your mom, yeah, you guys are not going to connect. But it's because of being born under the Taurus sign and needing to go through your karma. The karma is, can you do what has not been done in a place where feminine energy has not flowed? Your mom has already given you a reference of what that looks like if you don't allow it to flow. Your mom's really an example of what is going on internally within you and what that leaning kind of energy feels like, where it's just strong, strong, strong. Now, if you just stay this side, your whole life will also feel lopsided. So you will hold grudges, you will keep things, you will take things personal. You will always have this idea that I'm not going to open myself up because people are out here, they don't understand, they don't do this, that you're going to have all the predictable things that I can mention here. But that's all primitive. And I'll say, look at your life, look at the quality of your life, and do you enjoy it? Do you genuinely get a kick out of life? Can you say, Inshallah, if I die at peace, wherever I am in my life, emotionally, spiritually? And if you know that there's a grudge there in that heart area of yours, if you know that there's a tightness in that stomach area of yours, and if you know that deep down, personal shit aside, you really would have loved to have a connection to your mother where you could talk, where you could flow, where you could cry, where you can be nurtured, where for once you don't have to be the strong one, Taurus, and someone upholds you. If no one takes that position up, it's because that reference of the feminine energy has not been there in your life, either with a grandmother, a mother, or aunt, whoever the case may be. Sometimes the father is more feminine than the mother. But again, I will say, as a mystic, I'll sit with you and I'll say, don't fall for the play. Look at the bigger picture, Taurus. And if you want to dive into that bigger picture and want to learn how to get that feminine energy open without overthinking, overstimulating, and thinking that it's there to be taken personal, and if you want to understand how to heal that mother wound, it has everything to do with going inside out, not outside in. Meaning, we're not going to start with going to your mother and saying, hey, listen here, woman, I'm going to cry, you're going to deal with it, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to be emotional, you're going to deal with it, blah, 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 blah. I expect you to flip and understand all the emotions I've gone through. This is my trauma. Nope. You don't even have to touch, connect, talk, bring up your mother. I want you to become more familiar with the feminine side. I want you to know what that feels like in other people, in a group, in a community. When you have this as a reference, that thing of holding on to things will become a lot easier to let go. But if you don't have this as a reference in community, in conversation, and even as just a thought, because a lot of you are fixed. A Taurus, once they have their mind set, they think that's it. And I'm like, this world don't work like that, Taurus, because it was set before you became aware that you are like that. There was already a predisposition set by virtue of you being born under Taurus. And depending on where the placements are, it makes a lot of sense how the degree of how this feminine energy affects you. It's not normal to not talk to your mom. It's not normal to not have a connection to the mom or connection to the feminine side of your energy. It's not normal. Don't make that normal. So if you say, yes, Nathaniel, I have a disconnect with my mom, disconnect with my, that feminine energy. It's there, it played out. I'm saying, don't take it personal. If you're interested, sign up to the boot camp. There's only 10 places, 7 places left, and we only do it once a year. But in this practice, we go through how to loosen and massage that feminine energy. Not to the point where we're going to say, I forgive you, mother. We're not there yet. We're not at that stage. We just want to get your muscle, your energy loose so that you can get out of this fixed idea of this is just normal. I don't speak to my mom. I don't open up. I hold grudges. I always keep photographic memory of every single trauma that has ever happened to me. And I retract. And I'm like, nope. You are in the karma of Taurus. And Taurus came here to learn how to get outside of the karma. So that's the whole idea of the boot camp, to get you out of that predicament, because you are too beautiful as a zodiac placement to be fixed. I know your nature is fixed, but there's a fluidity to you. And that fluidity is an empathy that it goes unmatched. You have such a beautiful strength about you in your intuition, but your intuition is never gonna play out in your life. I can guarantee you. It's gonna be like, I don't know what's worse, having internet that buffers or having no internet. I'd rather have no internet. Right now, most people, intuitively, Taurus, it's like having internet, but it's buffering. Because that feminine side is the spiritual side. That feminine side is the intuitive side. If that feminine mother side is not nurtured, you are going to have stop-start relationships with diet, stop-start relationship with anything spiritual, stop-start relationships with anything active in your physical. And you're going to say it's normal. And I say, no, it's not normal. You are a consequence of your environment. And that's where you are perceiving reality from. And you are projecting based on how you feel, not what reality is and how you feel through reality. Bootcamp is where I teach as a mystic, not as an astrologer. I just use these zodiac signs to help you understand what is in you. We are a constellation of different impulses. And if you have a very strong Taurus impulse, these predicaments become very obvious. Very obvious. I just don't like seeing people literally go isolated. Taurus thinks this is just their life, and yeah, I'm just okay with not talking to my mother, not opening up with my mother. My mother's always like this, Nathaniel. My mother's always like that, Nathaniel. I'm like, your mother's being exactly what she needs to be. The task has begun. Can you see bigger? Can you see the big picture? Can you detach from the emotion? Can you detach from the trauma? And can you observe without your name? Can you observe the energy of your mother without knowing and attaching to the mother title? Disconnect completely from that mother title and observe from there. And if this is the practice, it gets better. You become more fluid. If you don't know how to detach, Taurus, something that is very hard for you guys to do, because you can get very involved in your culture, very involved in your gender, very involved in I am black, I am white, I am a South African, I am an American. And I'm like, don't fall for the predictability. Don't get attached. Observe, but know how to detach equally so as you attach. Beyond a mother, there is a story there. Beyond a father, there's a story there. But particularly for this video, beyond your mother, there is a story there. So don't just look at the predictability of what the pain was. There's a whole nother story. Just like you can't say, I'm proud of my mom for being strong. That's one color in the rainbow. She's many other colors. Do you know the other colors of your mom? Do you know the other experiences? Do you know, has it been fleshed out? And if it hasn't been fleshed out, there's a version of you don't know. To not know your mom deep is to not know yourself deeply. This is the whole juicy point of the healing. We want to get to that point, and it's there. Your mom is there. Whether she's passed on, whether she's living, that energy is in you whether you like it or not. That's why I want to regulate it, move it, melt the butter so you can start feeling in safety and not retracting in isolation. I hope this makes sense to you, Taurus. I don't play around with these boot camps. I really am serious about you healing. But you got to be serious about wanting to not fix yourself in an ideology just because something happened to you and no one was a caretaker for what happened to you. And then as a consequence, you start using your masculine to assume what you think is right to do, which is pull back, be stiff. I don't want to tell anyone anything, Nathaniel. I'm going to pretend, I'm going to keep it moving and run away or move away or distract myself from what's going on. See how, in the long run, this benefits you. Like I said, your health issues is a clear determining factor of there's something wrong. And don't call those things normal. I'm telling you now, it's not normal. Nothing's normal about being unhealthy. I just want you to be aware that it's not normal and get back to that health. I look forward to working with you, Taurus. Look forward to working with you in the bootcamp. Email me. There's only 10 positions. First come, first serve. Outside of you emailing me, even if you don't join the bootcamp, save this video, send it to a Taurus, or if you are a Taurus, let this message digest. Sit with it a little bit. Feel it out a little bit. Listen to it a couple of times. Don't rush. And in your time, in your life, take time to melt the butter. Melt the butter, Taurus. Don't be stiff.